The Galactic Council's emergency beacon had been broadcasting for 3 standard cycles when the response finally came. Ambassador Zixthala of the Seraphim Collective watched the quantum signature materialize on their sensors with a mixture of hope and desperation. The Devourer swarms had already consumed 14 systems, their biomechanical horrors advancing relentlessly toward the Council's core worlds. Unknown vessel. This is Galactic Council Station Harmony, Zixthala transmitted, her crystalline voice crackling with static. Please identify yourself and state your intentions. The response came in a flat, mechanical tone that somehow conveyed more menace than any roar of fury could. This is Task Force Cerberus of the Terran Defense Corps. We received your distress call. Terran. Zixthala's primary hearts sank. She had studied the classified files on the death world called Earth and its inhabitants. The humans had been quarantined from galactic civilization for good reason. They were a species born from a planet that actively tried to kill everything on it, survivors of ice ages, supervolcanoes, and countless extinction events. They were the apex predators of a world full of apex predators. The Council had hoped for the ethereal masters with their reality-shaping technology, or perhaps the ancient forge builders with their stellar engineering capabilities. Instead, they had received Earth's monsters. We appreciate your response, Zixthala managed. However, we were hoping for species with more diplomatic solutions to offer. A sound came through the comm, something between a chuckle and a growl. Lady, you called for saviors. We're what you get. Commander Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the TDC Nemesis, watching the tactical display update with Devourer fleet positions. Around her, her crew worked with the quiet efficiency of predators preparing for a hunt. These weren't the clean, sterile warriors of other galactic civilizations. These were humans who had clawed their way to the top of Earth's food chain and then decided that wasn't enough. Ma'am, called Lieutenant Rodriguez from the communications station, the Galactic Council is requesting we coordinate with their defense fleets. Chen's smile was sharp enough to cut steel. Tell them to stay out of our way. The first contact with the Devourers came at the edge of the Kepler 442 system. The biomechanical swarm moved like a living thing, their ships pulsing with organic technology that merged flesh and metal in ways that made most species recoil in horror. They had evolved to consume and adapt, turning every victory into greater strength. They had never encountered humans. Chen's task force dropped out of hyperspace, not in formation, but scattered like a pack of wolves, seemingly chaotic, but with lethal purpose. The Devourers, expecting the ordered battle lines of civilized warfare, found themselves facing something unprecedented: controlled chaos. The human ships weren't the largest or most advanced, but they moved with an unpredictability that spoke to their origins. Where other species had optimized for efficiency and logical engagement patterns, humans had optimized for survival on a world that played by no rules. Target the Queen nodes, Chen ordered, her voice calm as her ship dove through a formation of Devourer bioships, weapons blazing. Cut the head off the snake. What followed wasn't a battle. It was a systematic dismantling. The humans fought like their ancestors had fought in Earth's ancient wars, using feints, ambushes, and psychological warfare. They targeted not just ships, but the Devourer's coordination networks, turning the swarm's greatest strength against itself. But it was when the Devourers attempted their signature tactic, boarding and consuming enemy vessels to add to their mass, that they discovered why Earth had been quarantined. The first Devourer bioforms that breached the hull of the destroyer, Hadrian found themselves facing something they had never encountered: humans defending their territory. Marine Sergeant Mike Torres met the first wave in the ship's corridors. With nothing but a plasma rifle and centuries of human aggression distilled into pure combat instinct, The Devourers were designed to overwhelm and consume, but they had evolved against civilized prey. They had never faced a species that had spent millennia perfecting the art of killing everything that threatened their survival, including each other. Torres and his squad moved through the ship's bowels like antibodies fighting an infection, using every advantage their environment offered. They channeled the creatures into choke points, used the ship's own systems as weapons, and when conventional tactics failed, they resorted to methods that would have horrified the Galactic Council. "They're not just fighting to win," observed Dr. Cathara, the Council's military analyst, watching the battle feeds with a mixture of fascination and horror. "They're fighting like they enjoy it." Ambassador Zixathala watched in stunned silence as the human task force systematically destroyed a devourer fleet that had been considered unstoppable. But it wasn't the victory that chilled her crystalline soul. It was the way the humans celebrated it. There were no solemn ceremonies or grateful prayers to higher powers. The humans laughed, joked, and slapped each other on the back as if they had just finished a particularly engaging game rather than annihilated an existential threat to galactic civilization. "Task Force Cerberus to Galactic Council," came Commander Chen's voice, still carrying that undertone of barely restrained violence. "Primary Devourer fleet eliminated. We're tracking 3 smaller swarms fleeing toward the galactic rim. Permission to pursue?" "Granted," Zixathala whispered, then stronger. "Granted, Commander Chen, and thank you." "Don't thank us yet," Chen replied. "We're not done hunting." As the human ships disappeared into hyperspace, following their prey with relentless determination, Zixathala realized the truth that would reshape galactic understanding. Sometimes, to defeat monsters, you needed something even more monstrous. The Galactic Council had called for saviors, but Earth had sent exactly what was needed: its apex predators, refined by eons of struggle into the perfect weapon against any threat foolish enough to threaten their adopted pack. The universe was about to learn why Earth's children were kept in quarantine. Not to protect the galaxy from them, but to keep them contained until they were truly needed. The hunt had begun.